what we've really come to understand is it's the hand action that actually drives.
If you have good hands, you know what to do with your hands. So much works back into the body, and the golfer they're empowered when they know how to use their hands properly.
So welcome to everyone to today's fantastic webinar, and what we have is a very special webinar, that is how to compress the golf ball by building a solid impact zone, follow through and finish. All the important parts. Nothing matters until the impact zone and follow through is worked out, and that's what clearly makes the ball go straight. So welcome Martin and Peter.
Well, thanks very much, Chris Beckett. And
pleasure to be with you guys.
It's a pleasure to be with you too, Martin, and to all the folks there that are here to share this special area of the Golfswing, the moment of truth and beyond. Yeah.
So Peter, I didn't know you were going to wear blue. We should have color coordinated so we didn't look like we were bookends.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, it just it's a blue sky down here that makes you want to wear blue. It's a beautiful day here in Rosebud on the Mornington Peninsula, just south of Melbourne, and we've got good news today. My brothers are in Queensland, and Chris Beckett's in Queensland, and this morning, we got permission from the Premier of Queensland that she's opened the borders to us Victorians to come north.
Well, good for you. Go visit your brother. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
Go see Chris.
And see Chris. We'll play a bit of golf and do a bit of fishing. But we'll have to follow through, you see.
That's right.
Whatever you do in life, that it's the important thing is always following through with what you decide.
Absolutely.
If you're going to hit the golf ball, you need to follow through.
All right, so I'll just introduce these, the two of you. So basically, Peter Croker is an Australian champion, both in teaching and playing. He finished second in the Australian PGA Championship in 1976, was 2008 Victorian PGA Teacher of the Year. Had the cover, probably the only Australian to have the cover golf story in Golf Digest. Is it right, Peter, in 1995?
Yeah, I don't know. At this stage, they don't normally give a cover story to a golf coach. They usually reserve that for a tour player. So I think I was one of the first to get the cover on that way, but it was only because of the technique, that we discovered, which is this educated hands and how to use them effectively to control both the club and you and the golf ball, of course.
Oh, and obviously you're the founder of the Croker Golf System. You study directly under teachers and coaches such as Paul Runyon, Tom Tomasello, Norman Von Noder, Charlie Earp, Paul Hart, and other leading coaches, including Martin Chuck. Okay.
Yeah.
And
sharing ideas is really important, I think, and it's great to work with great coaches, and I am very lucky and honoured to be working with Martin. He's one of the best.
Yeah, he's one of the best, and he's a top 100 coach in America. Studied with the world's best ball striker, Canadian legends Mo Norman and George Knudsen. Founder of the Tour Striker Golf Academy and presenter and educator on Golf Pass, previously called Revolution Golf. So welcome, Martin.
Thanks, Phil. Appreciate it.
All right, let's get into the impact zone. And impact zone basically equals the moment of truth, the moment you know if it's good or bad, pretty much, right off the bat.
Exactly.
All right, so tell us a little bit about the impact zone and the moment of truth.
Well, Martin, do you want to have a shot at it first, because you got your big hockey stick there, haven't you?
No, I do. I do.
So could you share with us a little bit on this moment, this line of compression?
I always I joke, I say it's a line that people without understanding start complaining, because they don't really understand the difference between impact, follow through, and finish, in the intent on getting to a follow through and then slowing down in style into a finish. And, we had a lovely talk the other night, just talking about what how we were going to team up this evening. And we were talking about some follow through concepts, and it reminded me fondly of George Knudsen and how he trained people. But, your background, which inspired me as a young man to kind of seek you out when I was young, and you came to Southern California. I think I was 26 or 7. That's a long time ago. Was, you know, the way you kind of described some of the golf machine concepts, and you simplified it and boiled it down to some basic things of address, impact, follow through, and finish. And then in your kind of way of spinning it, how people can get there with, I wouldn't say ease, but understanding so that they could accomplish their goals. And
Yeah, so,
I love using a hockey stick just because it's got a nice big face on it, and people put their hands on well, and it's just easy to get into the alignments. The alignments are so critical.
excellent. Yeah, no, so I'll have a little bit of a shot at just showing the difference between the address position and the impact position, because this was a big surprise to me when, first of all, as a tour player, when I was playing, the moment of, that moment of impact, you normally find it by trial and error, so you don't exactly know exactly where things are necessarily supposed to be, but you can feel it. So actually, being a student of Homer Kelly's work, I realized that it was really important to understand what Ben Hogan and guys like Mo Norman and Tiger Woods and all the great players do. That they really compress the ball through there, and they have what we call an impact zone. It's I was always really I couldn't understand how someone like in my era of playing, Ben Hogan had what we call the ability to hit through the ball and stay in the shot. You could have compressed the ball at up to 12 inches anywhere in that area. He would hit the ball with solid compression and go straight. So we call it an impact zone. It's the difference between, first of all, the beginning is address. So everything at address, if you're going to play an orthodox, you're going to hit a parallel stance to your target line. Shoulders, hips, knees, and feet. Club face aiming at the target, and the hands in the middle of the body. Now, at impact, it's not the same as address. I always like to say it doesn't spell the same, so it has to be different. So when I am at impact, address, my hips are parallel. At impact, can you see how the left hip's cleared? I didn't do it with the right. It's not a right hip action. The right, otherwise I get out over the top. It's the left hip clearing correctly. And when it does that, the shoulders, they respond. They don't go around with the hips. The shoulders go down because the hands cause you to go down this way. So your shoulders.
Yeah, that's gorgeous right there. I love that look.
Yeah. So what?
Interesting, Peter. So if I stop you there for a second, right? I don't want to keep you frozen there in time, but for the viewers watching that was something taught to Matthew Wolf, right? So Matthew Wolf, like what you're doing right there in that impact position with the open hips, his coach, George Genkus, taught him to do that. He did that so much, he just made that a part of his routine. And that's why you see his, very, you can see him going into that position. He's got his primer move, which is very distinct, that it's his goal to kind of feel that opening position of his lead hip and how his hands kind of get organized into an impact condition. You're doing it perfectly right there. Now, not so many people do it as elaborately as he does, but he obviously liked the feeling so much that he made that a part of his full-time game.
Yeah, the forward press, and he's extreme. Another fellow called Roger Davis had a big forward press. Gary Player had one. The forward press is a miniature impact. In as you said in Matthew Wolf's case, it's not a miniature, it's the whole shooting match. But at impact, the difference being that as I fire the club head down in the correct downswing path, as we worked on in our last webinar, the result is through the bottom of the swing, the hands are you're not trying to be there. It's the direction of the hit is promoting it. And at impact, the hips are well clear. The shoulders are really a lot more rocked down than they were at address. And that pivot is what transports the hands. So you've got that forward lean on the shaft. And right at the beginning here, can you see my right arm? It's a little bit bent at address, but at impact, it's a lot more bent even.
Oh, completely.
That's where you get that extension. Now you got the punch action, and the right arm really can power into the ball, and you can effectively use the right hand to compress that ball.
You know, to your point, we call it, you know, we gave it the name at my golf school, the cornerstone, because the cornerstone is so important that it holds up the rest of the building, so that when a student comes to see us, this event of learning how to go from address into follow through, you know, working through impact, the trail shoulder lower, the pelvis a bit more open, the trail elbow bent, you know, those elements of learning how to use your hands properly to make your body respond, and hitting to both arms straight to follow through, not to finish. That's a huge part of the morning of day one of my golf school, just because most people don't know what that is. They've never done it before. They may have played golf. They may have had experience in golf for 20, 30 years. The problem is they've had that the same 1 year of experience 30 times. They've never had a new experience to teach them how to have that impact, to have that compression, that impact zone, as you call it, as a trail arm goes to both arms straight, to really get the feeling of what it's like to really squeeze a golf ball. You know, I think that if you learn that feeling, that's like the addiction of golf. Like, it really is, like that compression. I think that's why most people love to play the game.
We like to say it's much better to have compression than depression.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, the magic's in your hands. It's the way you use your hands from the very beginning of the start of the swing, all the way through transition and down through the impact zone. But it's nice to know that impact and address are totally different with the hands. So you start off, if I got the tennis racket here, which equals the club face, if my left hand is working really well in the downswing and I'm releasing, I'm not holding on and pulling and trying to chicken wing out of it or flipping it. But if I'm throwing A to B, as I come into the golf ball, through the impact zone, you can see that there's a forward lean of the shaft, and the racket face, which equals the club face, it can't do anything except hit the ball with a square impact. It's not going to flip on you. And you definitely, if you do that, it locks in every time. So that left hand action is really important. And that's a release or a thumbs down. And it's these last three fingers really curl. They feel that curling action. And you watch, you know what, Dustin Johnson or Tiger Woods, all the really, the guys that are making that compression on the ball with an orthodox, I'm talking with an orthodox grip, they'll come in this way. And the other thing is the right hand, it learns, it helps the left, but it doesn't, you're not trying to flip over. The thumbs go down like we call it a karate chop action or a rabbit chop. And as it comes down here, that thumbs down locks it all in, and the elbows connect in and connect to your body. So you don't disconnect. You get a very good structure through the bottom of the swing. And,
no, absolutely, 100%. You know, external feelings. You know, I mean, I have one of my devices on that. You know, the power click, and the sensation when I grip this. If I come up close to the camera, you'll see an effective lead hand grip. My left hand's bent back. That's an address position. As I'm going thumbs down into a golf ball, you can see how that's going to create kind of a sound and a tactile feeling. And trying to show you guys out there watching online, when you grip it nicely and your hands are mid body, you can see the back of the lead hand, or left hand in my case. There's a mild bend back with a vertical wrist. And as we go thumbs down, you can kind of see, as Peter was saying, that motion. What does that do to that clicker? Well, it bends it back some, so post impact, if I hit a short shot, that might stay in. As I kind of get past follow through, the club might overtake and slow down in style. But educating these hands, getting those hands on there, like the image of the tennis racket, you can hear that click. And as we kind of work down, it doesn't unclick. It won't unclick until the ball's well on its way and we're well into our slowing down phase, finishing. So, excellent bits that I think if people understand those things and really how the hands work, you know, they're going to be such better strikers. And it conveying that, like you do it beautifully. And I love the simple step-by-step boxes you make people check in order to kind of achieve that. Because you can't really get ahead, can you? You have to do it right. You have to be patient. And if you're patient, you'll get it. But most people aren't patient enough, Peter. You know what I mean? They want to go from A to Z, not A to B.
Well, I think this is where the drill will build the skill. And if you do the drills correctly, it doesn't take long before they have a profound effect on your ability to hit the golf ball. So in the drills, you can do all the thinking about this theory, about where the difference between address and impact. So I've got a yardstick or two here. So what's important if I'm hitting the ball in this direction, when I am on the right downswing path, the shaft is moving into line with the lead arm. Now, when you go dynamically, it won't get in line until the right actually gets fully in line at the end of the impact zone. So if I put a ball on this angle here, so I can show you that. There's address. Now, if I swung on the wrong path, then I don't get that nice compression of impact. I get a bad shot. But when I go A to B on that right direction, while I'm attempting to do this in line as soon as possible, the dynamics in the swing make the body get in position. So it only happens at and through the impact zone. From the beginning of impact, it's not quite in line, but by the time the right arm fully straightens and the thumbs fully go down, that what would be the club shaft moves into line with your lead arm. It doesn't want to go out of line, and you don't want to pull it. So you get that nice, what we call sustaining that compression through the bottom of the ball, through the bottom of the swing. And when you get that full arm straight, because they lock in, the body has to really accommodate and work with the hands and arms to give you that structure. Would you like to hit a couple of short shots there, Martin?
Yeah, no, I'd love to. I'd love to. You know, I'm going to have to send you a couple of junior hockey sticks because I think you need a couple of these down in Australia, just because it would warm my heart to see you do that with a junior hockey stick. And Jackson's outgrowing those, so I have a few for the academy. I love it. So hitting these little shots. So this is kind of a mid-body hand location. Now, so this little cornerstone behavior, as we kind of create radius and we create our little tap, as I'm kind of pushing through to these little shots, that little cornerstone strike to both arms straight, thumbs down. This is an awareness that, again, if people are patient and they go step by step, and I'm not talking a long time, and I got to be honest, Peter, there's no better time for people that really question whether their hands are educated. I mean, I know you're coming out of lockdown where you live. Guess what? Where we live, we're going more into lockdown. Okay, many states are locking down again for a period of time. No better time to do these kind of things at home with a yardstick, a junior hockey stick, a golf club. Obviously, the reason Peter likes a yardstick and I like hockey sticks is because of the rectangular feeling in our hands, and it's just a nice way to get it in your hands properly and to feel how when you unhinge it, when it's a little bit longer, or in a yardstick's case, a little bit off the ground, when you go into this manner, you can kind of feel it unhinge to the bottom of your forearm. Well, if you unhinge it correctly, you're in a beautiful alignment. You're in that line of compression from address to impact. So we know that at address, the club's fairly vertical, maybe fractionally forward leaning. Well, when the club head starts to work away from us, or in this case, the hockey stick, and we start to go in line, now you've got this beautiful line of compression for the moment of the impact zone. And it's only a blink of time, people. It's a 0.002 of a second, maybe times 2, which is negligibly longer. But that little key part down there is what separates a ball striker from the people that struggle all day long.
Yeah, that's great. I'd like to share a little drill that I do I always ask people, do they have a 1 iron? You know,
Yeah.
and most people say, what's that? Because they're not around these days. But I've got my 4 iron out instead of a pitching wedge or a wedge or a lofted club. With a 4 iron, I've got the club pretty flat, so I can really feel the ball staying on the club face better. I don't slice under it. So this little drill is a great one to start with, just to build what I call the impact zone. So you start with the hands middle body. Always get yourself set up right first. Don't start in the wrong alignment or bad structure. Good balance. Now, whether this is a 4 iron, so there's address. The shaft starts pretty well in the middle, opposite, pointing at my belt buckle. Now, when I go to impact, so I just go down to that position. And now what I want to do, the club face actually opens just a little bit when I do that. But as I go through the ball, the right arm straightening and the thumbs going down and the left wrist, I can actually push the ball along with the club. If you're doing it right, then the ball can almost stay. I know in field hockey, they teach you to be able to control the ball with the stick. Well, if we learn that with the golf club, we can get the same sort of control. So here it is down this way, address, beginning of impact. Now, to make that ball roll straight, that club face didn't stay at right angles to the target line. It actually had to have what we call a constant rate of closure, so that when I get through the ball, the club face is not facing to the hole. It's actually going around. So and then once you got that confidence, it'll stop the slice. You see. And
yeah, beautiful. No, completely. I think, when people, I always say, this is one of the critical things, and they'll have to watch some of the recorded webinars we've done talking about grip. But when they uncock properly, it's pretty tough to slice it. I mean, let's be honest, because the arms have come together. The club's rate of closure is pretty reliable at that point. They may hit a little bit of a push, but it certainly won't be any kind of big curve. That we can guarantee.
Okay, so what do you reckon? Do you think we've given enough about impact? Should we follow through from there?
I do. I think so. Yeah. I think, if I went back in time, I would say that the viewers would not have the patience to have had to deal with my coach, because my coach, George Knudsen, took us kids. We were thrilled to be a part of his program. It was a free program to us. The first few days of the program, Peter, all we did was this. I mean, for 3 hours, okay, for a few days in a row, I think George was trying to test us to see who would crack first, to be honest. We went from this address position, no backswing, into this kind of knees together, weight into the lead heel, up on the trail toe, knees together. And so he stood there while we did that. And guess what? We got pretty good at that. And do you think we gave George a hard time about that? 0. Because he was the coach. We were the kids. He told us what to do. We did it. Now, students we teach nowadays aren't that patient, nor are kids. Some of the great students are, and they get really good really fast. But once we got to a point where we realized that we were transporting the weight of the golf club from this starting form to that finish form, and we kind of knew where that was. The amazing thing was that the reliability from transporting the weight of the club that way, obviously training in the other pieces, but that got to be the play thought. That got to be the simplest thought to go play with. Starting form, finishing form. Now, to Peter's point in training and his awesome systematic way of teaching you that, there's stuff that is between those things, starting form and finishing form. But when you play golf, you want simple thoughts. In the simple thought, can you transfer the weight of the club to a place that where it goes? Because most people can't do that. And once you can, you have a lot of command over the golf club and you have command over the golf ball.
Yeah, exactly. One thing I'd like to share, just a little story about if we bypass the actual precision of building the follow through, we talk about the finish. You're 100% right, Martin. You can't be thinking about all these mechanical things and expect to play a good game of golf. You have to make it as simple as possible. And that finish idea, I remember when I first went on tour, there was a coach down here at Yarra Bend, and he was a very good coach named Graham Campbell. And he was giving a lesson. I just played the Dunlop International, and I qualified, but the next couple of days later, I was going to fly to New Zealand, and I went with my buddy he was having a lesson with Graham. And after the lesson with Graham, I said, Graham, can you give me a bit of have a look at my swing and see if there's anything I can improve? And what he said was that exact thing, finish. He said, every shot, when you finish, he says, I want you to hold your finish in balance, keep your knees together as best you can, and smile. Got to smile. And because you got to enjoy the hit. And he says, watch the ball till it stops rolling. So I went to New Zealand, first tournament on the second tournament on the tour, and all the World Cup guys are there, and I finished 11th. The next week, I led the New Zealand Open for 3 rounds. 3-putt the last hole, unfortunately, and didn't win, but ran about 9th. But that idea of finishing is really something that we want to hammer home. So, do you think we better not bypass follow through though, eh?
Oh no, for sure.
Okay.
So, So here's the thing. I think most people out there watching this think that follow through is finish. You see what I mean? They don't really understand that impact to follow through to both arms straight is something that they're not able to do this because they haven't gone A to B. Elbows have separated. They've had to push themselves away from the ground, or as they say, raise their head. And they haven't taken the steps in order to go from address, create some energy on the backswing in a short shot, but to go to follow through, to both arms straight. And if I did this toward the camera, this sense of, you saw Peter show so nicely. And here's the thing for the viewers watching, Peter's not 42 anymore. Okay. So what you saw him do with his pelvis opening and his shoulder alignments looked fantastic. Okay. And very, very capable. And I think everybody's capable of these positions to kind of have this lovely follow through before the club slows down in style into what I call a finish. Now, yeah, absolutely have to have perfect style in a finish. You don't. A lot of kids nowadays smash it and they fall all over the place. But for most of your scoring shots, let's be honest, and if you want to have the most success finding the fairway, style in your finish is important. If you want to risk being a little bit out of balance and swing a little harder, that's purely up to you and welcome, because we see that on tour quite a bit these days. But follow through is huge, and follow through is not finish. Follow through is a simple place of where both arms eventually go straight.
Fantastic. I'll use the yards. I'll use the club first, if I can, Martin, just to show that where the end. See, if you know how something starts, you change it, and where it stops, you got a chance of controlling it. So the actual impact zone starts from this position here, where you've really turned as much as you can. Your shoulders are down as much as you can. Your hands are forward, right arm bent. The end of the impact is when both arms first get straight and you're fully uncocked, and the club shaft is in line with that lead arm. Now, from this area, while it stays in line, this is kind of the beginning of follow through, and the follow through continues until you start to break down either the elbows or the wrists, and that's when we're going to go into the finish. So if you want to drill it in and help yourself to a better finish, you really need the impact zone first, the follow through second, and then the finish becomes a kind of what we call a no-brainer. And then if someone says, "Oh, you're a natural, you finish, you look so good." Well, you can train yourself to look that good. So here's address. I'll just move that a little bit. Now, address beginning of impact, the end of impact zone, the beginning now of follow through. Now, I keep the thumbs down, both arms straight. Now, to go from here, I need to allow the club face to release fully. I've released the club shaft and the club head. Now, the only thing left is the club face. So this left hand, it doesn't go out there. It now, when you run out of right arm, it now starts to turn around the corner, you see. And when that left hand is allowed and you encourage it to keep rotating this way, it not only keeps your left arm connected here and protects your shoulder socket, it causes the right side of your body to have to rotate and come up to balance. So the beginning of impact, the end of impact, the beginning of follow through. If you just drill this in, you'll find that the body has to go along for the ride because the hands are the source of motion, educated hands. So now I could go a little bit further. That's about it before something's got to give. I don't want to break my back, so I'm going to let the elbows and the wrists hinge. So
excellent.
So that's a drill, and whether you've got a great training aid there for showing the alignments through this area. What's the name of your training aid, buddy?
Yeah, we call it the educator. You know, it's basically I got tired of teaching people how to hold a hanger in their grip, so we just made one. It's the educator, and this is a situation where, while you're going to that start of follow through, when you're passing through impact to follow through right there, you can really feel the inline relationship of the club, thumbs down. And then when your body says, okay, that's when I'm going to let the club overtake and slow down in style. Elbows are going to fold, followed by the wrist folding a little bit. So those kind of feelings you can put in slowly, build them up, build your confidence until it's a part of you. And that's when you're a quote natural.
Yeah. When we came across the original name, which we had was Natural Golf, we had to change it because there was too many of them out there, including George Knudsen's Natural Golf.
That's right.
And so we had to put our name to it. But basically, someone was saying to me, "Oh, nothing's natural." He said, "That's not natural." No, everything you do is learned, but it falls in lines with the body's natural best movements, so you don't hurt yourself. And I think that's really important. With our program, it was all designed around a body-friendly swing. So now when you come up here, now when it folds, that's where we're going to go into. The next word is the word finish. So what do you think about, we had enough of the follow through, or do we need any more there, do you think?
I think it's good. I think it's hitting shots to follow through is a critical piece for most folks. If they watch the pre-recorded events or the previous events and they learn, this behavior, right? That to me is, again, the cornerstone of good striking. What happens beyond that can be used a variety of ways. Like that shot I just hit could be, like that went, 45 yards. Okay, that could be a scoring shot. This is just hitting a little 8-iron. As I hit a little bigger shot and say I hit it 130, so there's a 137-yard shot, to kind of an abbreviated follow through, to really make sure that I have my impact alignments in to give me the certainty that I want to hit a shot that, was very straight. It started a half a degree to the right of my target line and it drew a little bit to the left of my target line. That would be a good shot. That might be a shot I use into the wind. But see, I think a lot of people just think a swing is just some mythical thing they take back and they just put on a ball and everything should all work out, but they don't realize that if they train in these pieces, the small can lead up into a greater whole, right? Whether it's that swing or something that goes up to like a full shot for me with an 8-iron would probably be somewhere 155, 158, something like that. And so as I hit a little shot now, or more of a full shot, you know, there's certainly a finish there. I call it just slowing down in style. So 152. All the same things were in place, just the pace and the momentum with which it passed through, and how I, you know, had to kind of slow that down to be body friendly and body safe.
We have a couple of questions here, gents.
Yeah.
Yes,
and
please.
anybody, if you want to ask a question, just ask it in the chat box. You'll see a chat box there. And we'll try and get to as many as we can. But from Ron, is the right elbow bent or straight at impact? Probably Peter. Yeah, asking Peter.
Okay, the right elbow at impact for a right-handed golfer is at the beginning of impact. Ideally, it's really bent. At the end of impact, when you finally expanded that zone there, the more it is bent at the beginning of impact, the longer and the more compression you can put on the golf ball through the impact zone. So that's why practicing it, just doing a little drill, get your address, slight bend in the right elbow. Both elbows are not out, but they point down at your hips, a la Ben Hogan. Now, beginning of impact, my right elbow is really in, my left elbow is also in, it's not out, because the left wrist has gone this way. So now, as I straighten the right arm, I even get more twisting of the left hand, and it goes from bent to straight. So that area there is that nice. That's the moment of truth. Okay, so
okay, wonderful. That probably answers the next question, which is you use the phrase sustaining compression through impact. Would you and Martin like to just elaborate on that?
You know, I'd say it's, yeah, taking that over as, you know, the line of compression, LOC, as noted in the golfing machine. I got my book on the desk over there. You know, this sensation of, as the club, you know, unhinges and lines up, this sense of the trail arm, you know, going to follow through, both arms straight. It's about as compressed as you can hit a shot. Now, I wouldn't be enamored to try to force that in a full swing. I would be more inclined to teach somebody that slowly in short shots, so they could do it in a controlled environment. And then when they went to hit full shots, it's more of a freedom of understanding. So, you know, again, this little strike where my trail elbow is, my right arm's bent at address, during a backswing, you know, it takes on a little bit more bend. Then through impact, there's that push and that thrust to both arms straight, you know, to follow through. And there really isn't enough energy to really have the club's momentum take me to finish. But that's in essence what the viewer is, you know, talking about or asking about. And then the more you can freewheel that after training in those feelings, the better off you'll be.
Exactly. You know, basically the drills, we like to say the thrill and the skill is in the drill. And most people I know from my own experience in learning the guitar, I don't practice enough in between lessons.
No, I agree.
When you play on the golf course, you can't be thinking about this. It should be instinctively built in. It should be a reflex, but that's easier to say. And the more you drill, the more instinctive it becomes. That's all. So
it becomes really easy after you practice really hard.
That's right, exactly. So, you know, I've been fortunate enough to be working with Graham Bolton in his development of and Henry Bolton in the development of the focus band, which they used to help players play out of their mind, basically, because left brain, you can measure the brain waves, and you want to get out of that area. You want to be in the autonomous mode, and you train it in through breathing exercises. But what Graham was telling me, he said, it's amazing. Quite a lot of tour pros come along and what the instant success that the focus band has produced for Jason Day and Justin Rose and a few of the other, quite a few other players are using it without their name being mentioned. But what Graham told me was that the interesting thing was Justin Rose worked with this solidly for 8 months before he won the Olympic gold medal. and Jason Day, because you can measure, you can see how much they're doing it. He said Jason Day worked harder than any other golfer that he's ever worked with. So the practice, it's one thing to know the technology we're giving you here, but if you don't do the drills and you don't just allow yourself the time to get there, you'll stop yourself quite a lot of the time. So be kind to yourself, allow yourself to do a bit of drilling, and just enjoy the journey and the knowledge that you have now, that you can build that impact. And what Martin said, start with the short stuff.
No, and don't forget Colin Morikawa. Colin Morikawa is another one that was used that device quite a bit, but like now is the time. A lot of people are forced to stay home a little bit more often. Like the excuse list has run out. Okay, take command of educating your hands. Take command of understanding the difference between address and impact to follow through to finish. And once you take responsibility, it's amazing. Take responsibility, because once you do, most people don't. They want pixie dust. They come to the golf school, they want pixie dust. And the funny thing is, at my golf school, and people come see me, I'm like, you know what? I joke about this, but I say I'm going to make you suffer. And they go, I don't want to suffer. I want it to be easy. And I say, the reason I can make a golf shot behave for the most part is because I earned it. And guess when you earn it, I'll give you a systematic way of earning it that you can do. And Peter's got a great system to do, a great one, okay, as thoughtful as the most thoughtful I've seen. And now with lockdown for a lot of the world, and I don't know who doesn't have a yardstick in their house somewhere to really, or a hockey stick for that matter, just to understand how these little behaviors and how to build this up. You're fooling yourself. Don't fool yourself. Learn how to do these little pieces. The big stuff that comes out of the little accomplishments, compounding these little skills, will blow your mind. And then you'll feel confident. Like, who doesn't want confidence setting up over a shot? To know that you're going to hit it solidly. You may not hit it exactly where you want to, but you'll know, I guarantee you, that you'll be able to go, man, I'm not going to chunk this, blade this, embarrass myself. Because let's face it, people, the last thing you want to do when you play golf is embarrass yourself. Well, if you have some command over your hands so that you can play out of your mind and you can start to apply the face nicely and compress the golf ball, one, you'll be pleased with the feeling it gives you, because that's what everybody wants, is that pleasing feeling. And then the second thing is the byproduct is great shots, really nice looking shots that behave, and your scores will come down. So, I mean, I don't know who doesn't want that, Peter. That to me blows my mind.
Yeah, exactly. I just have to look after the dogs.
You know what I have to look after? I have to look after my son pretty soon. So we got to do a couple more questions, Chris, and I got to go to the ice rink, I'm afraid, believe it or not, in Arizona.
Okay, well, we have the finish to finish. We haven't finished on the finish yet, so we need that.
Let's finish the finish.
Exactly. Finish the finish.
Yeah, so I'll show you the drill for that, and then Martin can show you how he finishes in style. Because all these things, when you learn them, after you've learned them a little bit, that's the time to look good. And you can always tell if someone hits a good shot. You see that on the tour, you see them, they're not up here, they're down here, they twist the club a little. But the follow through leads to an area you could finish shots with a follow through, and quite a lot of players do. I've seen Tiger Woods hit some great pitch shots of about 100 yards, and he finishes like this. The ball goes as straight as a string. But after you run out of the full extension, your body can't turn anymore, and you can't release the club anymore in line, then the momentum of the swing is going to have some effect. And this is when the wrists will rehinge, and this device will show you it should hinge in this way, not this way. So as it hinges up, it finishes here, and then it'll come around. You'll see a good player that they're right in here, here, and then they'll finish at the finish. Their body turn is fully through, especially today. You see that all the good players, they don't finish this way. The release, the correct release of the hands, or releasing the club with the hands and continue to release, causes the body to fully release. So someone that's getting stuck with their hips, you get unstuck by using the left hand release over and the right hand thumb staying down, and then that makes your body release. So your body, this is a finished position for the body, and then the arms will start to rehinge, and then you'll finish usually over here. And a good player, or all of us should, let it recover to here, put it down and relax, and that would be an ideal finish of the finish right there.
Yeah, completely agree. You know, so hitting a shot, there was a gentleman asked a question about slow motion swings. I could see, I'm amazed I could still see that with my eyesight. But, you know, as I hit a little shot, you know, I've got a pitching wedge now. So pitching wedge is 130 yards, give or take a yard or two. You know, it's a really good one. You'll see that spin of the club and relaxing swing of the arms right there. 127, so 3 yards shy of my intended carry. But the sense of all those little pieces accumulate up into what you just saw. You know, we're not just, it's not just a swing. You know, everybody just says, okay, let's swing your swing. No. You don't just swing your swing. You put great coaches, even with juniors, like my son's a good little golfer. He's not a world beater. He's going to be a functional golfer the rest of his life. If he elects to be a good player, purely up to him. But if he goes and plays right now and you watch him swing it, you'd be like, man, Jackson, you got a very good golf swing. And he'll probably have a very good golf swing the rest of his life. But critical little pieces were in there. You know, I didn't teach him, I didn't tell him to hit critical positions. I made a point of having games with him. And I would hit little shots and I would exaggerate this look. And I would hold it and I would hold it because I could hold it for half an hour. It's comfortable to me. I would hold, you know, that journey from address to impact to running out a right arm in a short shot. And then I would do the same thing and I would let it overtake into a finish. And then pretty soon, inquisitive little kid is mimicking and doing the same things. Didn't even take a language from me. That's the beautiful thing of starting somebody young. They'll look and they'll mimic. And if they watch your style, for the most part, they'll try to copy. Some kids won't. That's okay. But, you know, working through these pieces, and that's where, you know, it's a step-by-step process. It's like something really good, build upon that, build upon that, build upon that, build upon that. And that's what's impressed me with Peter and Chris's work so much is that, you know what, it's not just, they're not selling you snake oil. They're selling you something that is systematic and you can do really well. And that's what I sell you when you come and see me. I'm not telling you you're going to leave me being a fantastic golfer. If you earn it, you will be. You'll become a very, very competent, confident golfer, but you have to earn it. And there's steps that you have to take to do that.
Fantastic. Talking about junior golfers, Martin, we've got one of our programs is called the Beginning Golf Program. Mm-hmm. And I would like all folks that watch this webinar, and especially golf coaches, this Beginning Golf Program is available to all juniors 18 years and under for free. So all they have to do is send us an email. Just let me know their age and then get their parents' permission, of course. And we'll send them the online learning program, the Beginning Golf Program. It builds from the grip. It builds all the fundamentals through the driver, bunker plate. So it's a complete program for anyone beginning golf, but for junior golfers, it's free of charge.
That's fantastic, Peter.
Yeah, so I know we got a Black Friday sale on it. It sells for a lifetime in it for $39.95, but we're doing I think $19.95 is a Black Friday sale.
I just put the link in the chat box there for anyone that wants to have a look. We might wrap it up there, but let's have a look at where you can find Martin here. So Martin has a fantastic website called tourstriker.com, and here you can see some great golf schools he's running, and also you can find these training aids such as what he was demonstrating. Is that right, Martin?
Yeah, no, just years of coaching and experiences with fellows like Peter is I've been blessed in the game and have fun playing golf and coaching golf and helping students. So I'm easy to find at tourstriker.com if you're so inclined to reach out. We do online lessons, and we do obviously our golf school in Arizona. And during the summer, and hopefully next October, I'll be joining Peter in your neck of the woods in Melbourne somewhere. So that'll be a lot of fun.
Fantastic. And a few training aids. You can find Peter's details at the following: crokergolfsystem.com, and you can just send Peter an email if you have any questions, or Martin an email if you have any questions, and they're the details to find them. So well done, guys. Any closing remarks there?
I'm going to say in closing that, I'm going to guarantee, if you guys get involved, I do this out of respect for Peter and Chris. Okay, I get online once a month and I spend my time because he gave me so much years ago that I use continually with students today. That I do this for fun. I do this because I enjoy just being online with a mentor coach of mine. It's been nice getting to know Chris as well. And I know that if you watch this and you really want to understand the game more and get better, get involved in one of Peter's programs. I mean, the kids, if any kids are out there, do the junior one. Get it. It's free. You know what? It doesn't cost you anything. And then the adults, this is the type of detail that is simple and organized that if you just follow the steps, you can't help but get better. So it's an honor for me to be a part of it. I know you're doing a lot of good things for golf, Peter. You've helped me a ton in my career, and I'm grateful for that. And it's a pleasure to be on here with you.
Yeah, beautiful, buddy. And the other thing is, with both of us, with Zoom, the magic now today is Zoom. We can do Zoom lessons for individuals wherever you are in the world. I know you can get Martin probably hasn't got as much time as I have over here, but he's busy with his schools now. And unfortunately, a bit of COVID around. But down here, the Zoom lessons are working out really well for golf coaches. I want to really share this with the golf coaches around the world as much as you do, mate. And I really appreciate all the stuff you're doing. Thanks very much, Martin.
Awesome. Well, I just want to wave goodbye to everybody. Stay tuned. We'll post up. We'll do this next month again. Let's have some fun. Well, maybe we'll just do a nice hour of Q&A maybe next month. That might be fun.
That would be good. Yeah, well, we've got a few. I know there's a few questions there, and there's we've got to try to get some answers.
Exactly. So if we did a show just on question and answers, it'd be great. Let's do it.
Okay, for Christmas. That'll be our Christmas special, eh?
There you go.
Yeah. It won't be on the 24th of December though, like this one is. Okay.
Stacy would be angry with me. No, we'll have to pick a different day.
Yeah, we'll have it up. You'll be able to find it on your social media as well as ours.
Yeah.
Martin, fantastic.
Bye, everybody. Take care.
Thanks very much. Thanks very much. Thanks, Chris. Thank you, Chris.
Thanks, Martin. Thanks, Peter.
Hey everybody, Martin Chuck here, and I'm excited to do another webinar with my good buddy Peter Croker. I say good buddy and mentor, Peter Croker. We're doing it December 21st, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific time, and for those of you in Arizona like me, that will be at 6 p.m. So we're looking forward to taking your questions. This is going to be Q&A. You know, we go through our webinars and we really like to kind of present the material, but there really isn't that much time for questions in the end. So this show is all about Q&A. We can't wait to see you online December 21st. See you there.